even if they have like an episode that's like, an hour and 20 minutes long, 80 minutes, 100 minutes long, something an hour and a half long or more in the next final episode, and it's spectacle and it's action and it looks amazing, it's really entertaining. Well, they've still, as far as I'm concerned, because of the overall very mediocre nature of the episodes that lead into that one, they've basically just been wasting our time. Hello, boys and girls, ladies and gents. This is DafubFilm&TV, and after something of a bit of a delay because of a family event I had to attend, which messed up my timetable, here is a somewhat belated review of episode 5 of Secret Invasion. By the time I had finished watching this episode, I had already come to the realization that I would have to watch it again because I'd already forgotten a significant chunk about the episode because it had so completely failed to hold my attention. Now, maybe it's because of the kind of the time of day I'm, was watching it at and recording it. It's mid-afternoon. It's not particularly late. Maybe I'm a bit tired after, the events of the last week or two where I've been somewhat busy again with said family event. But fundamentally, I had to watch this episode twice just to, get it to stick into my head to any real, meaningful degree. And that really kind of says a lot about this series. It has, from the beginning, I was kind of being, even-handed. I gave kind of the first 2 episodes the benefit of the doubt. But since then, it's just been, the episodes have gotten shorter, which I don't think has necessarily negatively affected the storytelling. They're mostly now under 40 minutes long. I have sneaking suspicions that maybe about, budgetary concessions, trying to be as economical as possible, which, considering that the show cost apparently 200 million to make. I've mentioned this in a previous episode review, I think the last one. That is a bit, of an eyebrow raiser to put it mildly. This is effectively twice the money of the average season of Game of Thrones, which gives you an idea as to how expensive this show is to make. And again, we get some kind of CGI special effects, not particularly impressive, not impressive at all when you take into account the cost of the show. There is an action, kind of shooty action sequence, which is, okay, nothing particularly special. And if that action was, looked cheap, particularly when you take into account that supposedly killed 2,000 people. I mean, the list just goes on and on. It's a $200 million show. Yes, some of the sets, do look good, but assuming they are sets, but they could have done the same or better with location shooting. And if they're not sets and they are location shooting, then where the hell did the money go? The quality just isn't there. The production value isn't there. It's not by any stretch of the imagination, as I said, good enough in terms of writing or story to be a thriller. It's, I think I've used this term before, but it's trapped between 2 different stools. And it's appealing to an audience. It's not appealing to a thriller audience. It's not appealing to a spectacle / action audience. This isn't, the Winter Soldier in TV form, which is what you might expect. And again, as I've said before, I've never been a particularly significant comic book aficionado. And when I have kind of purchased comics or graphic novels, they tend to be more of the DC / Vertigo variety, not Marvel. So my knowledge of the Secret Invasion storyline in the comic books is at best, well, it's secondhand, frankly. It's from people talking about it online and people I know talking about it. I've never actually read that series, so I can't comment on that or that storyline, as I haven't read that run of the comics. But from what I know of it, that's the Secret Invasion storyline could have literally driven the entirety of the second phase of MCU movies. on its own. It could have been literally a 10-year kind of bonanza of films, who's a Skrull, who isn't, and so on. It might have gotten a bit long in the tooth if it took 10 years to go through. People might have gotten bored of it. But otherwise, outside of that, like, it just seems to be a terrible use of a storyline that could have been very successfully exploited in the films, or exploited over kind of a long term over the long term in various streaming shows. And instead we've just got this, damp squib that doesn't appeal to the spectacle audience, doesn't appeal to the thriller audience. It doesn't know who it's trying to, entertain and appeal to. I certainly don't consider it to be appointment television whatsoever. And and they spent 200 million on it. I won't go into, really any more of the kind of particular story details, because there's frankly, in my view, no point. There was maybe a bit of an indication at the end that we might be getting one or more kind of superheroes turning up to provide assistance from a phone call that Fury made to someone off camera. But outside of that, I just cannot believe the money they spent on it. It must have all gone on the cast. I mean, it really, really must have, because it's a total waste of money. If you might binge it, in a single weekend, just to, if you're a completionist and you want to watch all the MCU shows. But this is like, why is this here? Why does it exist? Who like, did Kevin Feige look at these scripts and say, yeah, put that into production and spend 200 million on it? And how is it possible that, I mean, again, the first 2 episodes are about 50 minutes long, but every episode since is less than 40. And they spent like $200 million is near the top end of an MCU movie. And this is all we're getting. Now, I've been watching it in 4K, and it does, look good in 4K. But it just makes no sense. Makes no sense at all. It's, again, as throwaway as most of the episodes in the show have been. It's as underwhelming as the rest of the show has been. Even if they have like an episode that's like, an hour and 20 minutes long, 80 minutes, 100 minutes long, something an hour and a half long or more, in the next final episode, and it's spectacle and it's action and it looks amazing, it's really entertaining. Well, they've still, as far as I'm concerned, because of the overall very mediocre nature of the episodes that lead into that one, they've basically just been wasting our time. I mean, they really, really have. I mean, it's like, it doesn't have any of those unnecessary filler episodes that like a lot of the kind of Star Wars stuff has had, whether it be the animated shows or the live action shows. Like the Mandalorian's had like annoying filler episodes from all 3 of its seasons that in my view, don't need to be there, and the money could be better spent on the actual main story episodes, making them longer, more more spectacle and so on, more production value. But outside of that, like, it's just like, why does this show exist? Who is it intended to watch it? Who okayed this? Who greenlit this? I'm not, I'm not impressed at all. And I mean, like, I can't, it would be a catastrophic disaster for the Star Wars IP if the Ahsoka show were like this. I don't think it will be. I don't think it can be. But even so, I haven't watched Moon Knight, so that may be worse than this. But if it isn't, this is the worst piece of MCU content, even that kind of the Captain America show they had on the first season of. I don't know if they're getting a second. No, they're not getting a second season of that. That had the Winter Soldier and what is his name? I can't remember the name of the actor. He plays the Avengers member who can fly with his flying wings and rocket pack. I can't remember the name of the character. I can't remember the name of the actor. I apologize. But, you know, that was better than this. And I don't understand how they could spend 200 million on this and not get at least as good or better a show than that one. And that had a lot more action in it compared to this. I mean, really, if it was a situation where they had to pay 50 or 60 million to the cast or 100 million to the cast, then they shouldn't have made the show. They should have done some sort of deal. I don't know what guaranteed a physical collector's edition release that the cast would get a cut from or something. But 200 million. Absolutely crazy. Anyway, this is DafubFilm&TV. Let me know what you think in the comments. I will look at episode 6 the first chance I get and record that, review that, and then put a video up on that. But it may take a few days. Various real life things get in the way. But for now, this is DafubFilm&TV. Thinking that even the MCU is going in a Star Wars direction. Signing off. Toodaloo.